Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm gonna talk about Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. So sit down and enjoy this video. So since Netflix announced a live action series, I thought it was the perfect time to talk about it. And let me say one thing. Netflix, hear me out. I swear to God, if it's not good, I'm gonna become your sleep paralysis demon, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about, where the fuck did you live? What kind of childhood did you have? Anyway, Scooby Doo is a media franchise originating from the animated television series Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Produced in 1969 by Hanna-Barbera and centered around a group of 4 kids: Fred Jones, Daphne Blake, Velma Dinkley, and Shaggy Rogers, and a talking Great Dane named Scooby Doo. These 5 characters form the Mystery Incorporated, and they travel the world in a van called Mystery Machine, solving mysteries usually involving ghosts and other supernatural entities. And at the end of each episode, it is revealed that these forces have a rational explanation and are usually malicious individuals trying to scare the people and commit crimes because they want to. Because in the end, the real monsters are the people. So Scooby-Doo was born in the middle of protests and psychedelic rock and social change, and in the chaos, Hanna-Barbera decided that kids need something different. Something scary, but in a controlled way, with brilliant formula. A group of kids drive around in a van, solve mysteries, unmask a fake monster, and they have a talking dog like a mascot. It seems simple, but it has endured for over 50 years, maybe because it was repetitive, but also comforting, and you knew what to expect, but every episode had its own twist, and the protagonist made history. So here are the characters, we know them, we love them. Fred is the leader, always there, planning absurd traps with a confidence bordering on naivety. Daphne was the beautiful one, but over time she becomes tough and intelligent and often underestimated, whatever. Velma is the brain, rational, logical, determined. She is the investigative heart of the team. Shaggy and Scooby are the cowards, sure, but they're also the one who show the most humanity. Always hungry, always on the run, and always somehow at the center of everything. Are they stereotypes? Maybe, but they work. But now let's get to the point. Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated is an American animated horror comedy television series that serves as the 11th incarnation of the franchise. Produced by Warner Bros. Animation for Cartoon Network UK from 2010 to 2013. In addition to following the same narrative formula, the series introduces 2 elements that have never been used before in a Scooby Doo series. 1. A serialized format with a continuous story arc characterized by many dark plot elements treated with almost complete seriousness. And 2. Ongoing relationship drama between the characters. You have to understand that this shit is my shit, okay? I was 10 to 13 or whatever when this came out, and I was obsessed and I had no one to talk about it, okay? Because this is fucking good. The series, however, only has 2 seasons, unfortunately. So in season 1, the gang, Fred Jones, Jr., Daphne Blake, Velma Dinkley, Norville, Shaggy Rogers, and of course his inseparable dog Scooby Doo reside in the town of Crystal Cove, self-proclaimed the most haunted town in America. Their role is to solve mysteries and cases involving monsters and ghosts as per tradition. However, what sets this season apart in that alongside the episodic cases, so the monster of the week, is a deeper narrative arc unfolds and involving the town's past, the mistakes of its founders and the buried secrets begging to be uncovered. As per usual, as we said, every monster is actually a person in disguise, and the town's adults, so Fred's father, Mayor Fred Jones Sr., and Sheriff Bronson Stone are strongly opposed to the gang's investigation, as they largely survive thanks to the haunted tourism industry. As already mentioned, the gang internal dynamics are explored. Daphne has feelings for Fred that he hasn't yet revealed. Velma and Shaggy have an ambiguous relationship, with Shaggy fearing that Scooby might be jealous if he gets close to Velma. Fred is obsessed with the idea of tropes, his father's legacy, and the desire to be accepted. But during the I forgot what I want to say. As the season progresses, the gang comes face to face with a dark truth. Not all monsters are simply scammers, but that behind every strange thing lies something bigger. The origins of Crystal Cove, the disappearance of the Darrow family like 70 years ago, and above all, the mystery of the first Mystery Incorporated, also made up of 4 teenagers and a pet, who mysteriously disappeared into the town's cave. So 4 teenagers: Brad Childs, Judy Reeves, Cassidy Williams, and Ricky Owens, and a talking pet, their parrot, the Professor Pericles. Furthermore, the mysterious figure of Mr. E emerges as a provider of cryptic clues. The gang receives tapes, messages, and findings that invite them to go beyond the monster of the moment and see what lies beneath the city's surface. At the same time, a new key character emerges, a friend of the gang. Radio host Angel Dynamite proves to be a little too skilled at helping the kids with their investigation. A little too knowledgeable, or whatever that word is pronounced. So each episode leaves behind a piece of the puzzle. A medallion, photos of people, symbols of Spanish conquistadors, and so on. And it all comes to a head when the legend of the cursed treasure beneath Crystal Cove actually begins to emerge. When the gang discovers a way to reach the lost mansion of the Darrow family, known as the Mystery Fellowship, the founders of the town who mysteriously disappeared along with their home on Halloween night 75 years earlier. The family consists of 4 humans: father, mother, daughter, and a son. and a talking cat. Wait, they found the mansion and enter it, and there they find a now gollumified Danny Darrow, so the son, who survived for years underground. Crazy! He's become insane and mistakes them for the original Mystery Inc. For example, he believed that Fred and Daphne was Brad and Judy, and tries to trap them and kill them. Eventually, however, he realized that they are not the original Mystery Inc. And so gives them a piece of the puzzle and lets them escape just as the mansion begins to collapse again and it's swallowed by the earth once again. So yeah, Danny Darrow survived for ages underground for then dying cause of earthquake. That's crazy, okay? Then something happens. Cause Velma, the clever one, connect everything she discovered. She discovered that the angel dynamite is actually Cassidy Williams, a missing original Mystery Inc. member. What? That was a shock. And I mean, she is basically the only black character, but yo, who thought that? Who thought about that? Like, when I was a child, I was like, no, that's not possible. What? But that's not all, okay? Because later, they discover also that Mr. E, the one who helped them solving the mysteries, is none other than Ricky Owens, another original Mystery Inc. member. The arc concludes with the collapse of the gang's normal structure and takes the story to a darker and more serious turn. It turns out that the freak of Crystal Cove, this demon, is none other than Mayor Frank Jones Sr., who isn't actually Fred's real father. It's revealed that 20 years earlier, he created the freak to threaten the old Mystery Incorporated when their search for the planispheric disk brought them ever closer. He threatened them with false documents that would get them sent to prison, forced them to leave Crystal Cove and surrender their piece of the disk. What's the disk? A minute. He finally blamed their murder on Professor Perkle, the parrot, and had him locked up in a mental hospital for animals. Yes, I'm not kidding. Years later, Brad Childs and Judy Reeves returned to Crystal Cove, but Mayor Jones kicked them out again and kidnapped their son to raise him as his own. So Fred is the son of Brad and Judy, and the mayor kidnapped him. The gang is thus divided. Fred, deeply betrayed, declares Mystery Incorporated dead, breaks up with Daphne and leaves the group. From there, everything escalates because you can't understand. First season is peak, pure fire, talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, and all the things Lady Gaga said. The lore is mwah, perfect, so good, a masterpiece. Deserved every single prize, deserved an Oscar or whatever. It's everything. It's good, beyond good. It's beyond the best. And this brings us to season 2. The story picks up with the gang fractured and the town of Crystal Cove beginning to descend into chaos. Fred is in exile, searching for his real parents. Shaggy is in a military boarding school. Scooby is in a shelter under surveillance. Daphne is missing, no one knows where she is. And Velma finds herself alone in a deteriorating town. Or perhaps not entirely alone, given that she and Marcy Hot Dog Water Fleet, Velma's enemies and one of the monsters of the first season, are working for Mr. E. The group must reunite, but as mentioned, Daphne doesn't return, so in her place comes Marcy. And Velma suggests Marcy to enter the group because they already work for Mr. E. The group then sets out to find the pieces of the artifact known as the planispheric disc. And this effectively becomes the central plot. The gang finds themselves in a race against time to collect the missing parts of the disc, which, once united, will point the way to the cursed treasure beneath the city. But it turns out there wasn't just one Mr. Ink, and here, guys, I scream! In addition to the already mentioned original Mystery Incorporated and the Darrow family, we learn about the Benevolent Lodge of Mystery, a group of investigators active from 1880 to 1910. Once again, 4 humans: Abigail Gluck, Marian Blanchard, Oswald P. Burlington, and Scott Rook. And a talking orangutan, Mr. Peaches. And this group, with the original Mystery Inc. and the Darrow family, are the more explored, a bit, not completely, but goodly explored. But wait, there's yet another one, the Fraternitas Mysterium, a group of 4 human friars, I don't know how to pronounce this word, I could have checked out but I didn't, including Gabriello Serra and a talking donkey, Porto. We understand that what our protagonists are experiencing has eventually happened before. Because there was also another one for for sheriff girl in the Wild West with a talking Muppet, I think. Skunk. Hi, it's me from the future. Actually, I made a mistake. I basically combined the other 2 mystery groups of the series. One is the Mystery Gang, composed by 4 cowgirls and a bull. And the other one is the Alianza Misterio, which are basically 4 Zorro-like characters with a skunk. But they're barely they don't even say their name. Or actually, I don't remember. So they discovered that these teams have followed one another over time, always centered around the same occult core of events buried beneath the city. So this historical thread isn't mere background mythology. The recurring nature of the themes for boys and a talking animal is directly tied to the way the entity manipulates and feeds on human bonds, and explains why Crystal Cove seems to always accommodate the same set of heroes. But we'll get to that in a moment. As the season progresses, alliances shift and motivations become clear. Professor Percle, initially in business with the gang, becomes a full-fledged antagonist, driven by the desire to unleash an older force, use the city for his own ends, and subjugate its citizen. Mr. E takes on an ambiguous role. From a hidden mentor, he becomes player in the game, not anymore the evil one, because the evil one is Professor Percle, and so he also became like a puppet now. And everything changes further when Brad Childs and Judy Reeves, Fred's real parent, return to Crystal Cove. They will reunite with Professor Percle, Mr. E, or rather Ricky Owens, and Angel Dynamite, or rather Cassidy Williams, to form once again, and so you reunite the original Mr. Inc. and retrieve all the pieces of the planispheric disc. Now, Cassidy, as one of Angel Dynamite, Cassidy, call whatever you want, has the best character arc in the series, because it's so good. Angel / Cassidy plays a double game and decides to side with the good. So, our protagonist. She joins the gang to explore the collapsed ruins of the old town of Crystal Cove, caused by an explosion caused by the Fraternitas Mysterium's donkey Porto under the influence of the planispheric disc, and where Abigail Gluck of the Benevolent Lodge of Mystery built an underwater base to find the pieces of the planispheric disc. Here, Percle reveals that he was friends with Abigail long before meeting Ricky Owens. Here, he steals the piece of the planispheric disc and blows up the underwater base with his army of robots, because he's super mighty, create robot industry in there. And Cassidy sacrifices herself to save the gang. Just thinking about it makes me cry, and it's crazy that they made this cool character that was secondary in the first season, but in the first season a lot ambiguous, and then they revealed that she was actually one of the disappeared children in the past, and she knows a lot, and then she go back with her old friends, but then she changed sides, and then she dies. Yes, actually, yes, this is good. This is how to write a good plot and a good character, because this is amazing. And this is a children's show. Here, people die. It's crazy and fucking good. Let's move on and let's uncover Pericles' plan once again and for all. He wants the disc, the planispheric disc, and find the sarcophagus in which the first investigators, the hunters of secrets, who date back to the Mayans' time, imprisoned a dark entity called Nibiru. Actually, Nibiru is a planet that, according to Sumerian mythology, would crash into Earth to mark its end. In the show is also a dark entity. Towards the end, the stakes become the salvation, not only of Crystal Cove, but of in reality as a whole. Here begins the show's decline somewhat, so wait, because unfortunately perfection has a limit. Fred finds himself in a post-apocalyptic future where the only other survivor is an old Daphne. Okay. And in the meantime, the group finds themselves working with a totally different Fred than usual. But immediately we discover that it's not real. There's not an apocalyptic future. It's just a movie set. Because we discovered that Brad Childs and Judy Reeves have undergone cosmetic surgery to become Fred and an older version of Daphne, all to deceive the protagonist. This part of the show was like, what the fuck? The two groups find themselves following evidence to reach the sarcophagus. And here we have another death. In fact, Mr. E kidnapped Marcy. I forgot to mention this, but she abandoned the group because Daphne returned and continued working for Mr. E ever since. Anyway, he kidnapped her so he could threaten Velma, but Marcy eventually breaks free and helps the other escape. There's an obvious lesbian subplot between Velma and Marcy, and I'm in for it. But at the end, Pericles orders one of his robots to kill Marcy. And we don't actually see her death. Actually, we don't see any of the deaths. There's not that much, but there are. And we don't actually see because it's a kid show, but we saw the robot with the gun and then black and then so what the fuck. I loved Marcy because she has been two monsters, one in the first season, one in the second, because she then worked with Mr. E, and she's so cool, and she's a lesbian. Let's go, lesbian! So we come to the end. Pericles opens the sarcophagus and releases the dark entity that transforms him into an alien octopus parrot. And in the end, after the gang manages to defeat him, reality is rewritten and the protagonist ends up in a sort of parallel universe where everything that happened never actually happened. Excuse me? What the actual fuck? No. But here we are. A wonderful show. Ruined in its conclusion. I would have done tons of things differently. Explored more the lore of the other gangs. Of the past, more drama, more mystery, instead of the evil octopus alien parrot. But anyways, I told you this show was crazy.
You're crazy. I like it.
This is a masterpiece of television, a masterpiece. Good, good. So, you know, when something is good, you want to eat it. That's how I feel. This is what I want. Lore, deep lore. So I don't even have words to describe this. I don't even have them in Italian. I really don't know what to say because there's nothing to say. The only not good thing is the end, and that's sad because it was so good. There was a peak. First season, it's here. You can even see it because it's very high. You can even see how peak is the first season. Then we go down a bit at the end. We fell completely underground, buried. Because what the fuck? Parallel universe? What is this, Marvel? No. I do not accept that. No. But all of this just because I wanted to talk about this show. Because, you know, now Netflix is gonna do a new TV show. And actually, let me check on Google for a minute. Wait. Okay, what I found online is that the plot of the live action series will explore the origin of the Mystery Inc. during their last summer camp, where Shaggy and Daphne apparently are friends, but why? Because they're really opposite. I wouldn't have choose them to be like strict friends before the others came in, you know. But they met Scooby that could perhaps see a supernatural homicide. Reading this, it's already not good. What I would love to see is because guys, we should also talk about the live action movies from 2002 and 2004, because that I can't even explain how I feel about those movies. Those are my Roman Empire. I fucking love them. And there is a supernatural thing, because in the first one, you know, there's these monsters that stole the souls of people, and in the second one the monster actually became real, and but it makes sense because they wanted a more comedic adult Scooby Doo version of the movies, and that works. That works. In Mystery Incorporated, to me, it doesn't. To me, there was already enough material to do. They could have also done something supernatural in Mystery Incorporated, but a fucking alien octopus parrot, what the fuck was that? No. There was already a lot to explore. I would have done something different. A demon, okay, but I think it wasn't necessary, because at the end, the monster are the people, right? So I would have followed that path and like uncovered all the old mystery about the planispheric disk, you know, these conquistadores treasure that it's beyond richness, and it's so precious that they all became mad, going out, they went out of their mind and all these things, you know. I would have followed that path instead of the supernatural entity that want to destroy the earth and then create a parallel universe. So that's it. The Netflix show, I will wait for it. I will watch it. Probably I will hate it. I would have loved to see a Netflix a live action adaptation of Mystery Incorporated with the 2 seasons translated into a live action, and then I would change the end because it's awful and we don't need that, and continue to explore that lore and that story because that's so good. That's so good. I would love to see more of these kind of things. Maybe I'm gonna write a Scooby Doo fanfiction. Yes!
Yes!
But with that, this is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, it's not my problem. So yeah, don't forget to smile. See you next time and bye.